Hello, everybody. Let's see what we got today. See what we got on the news here. It says women shortchanged as 65% of weekly working hours ignored in official data. So they just did the polling wrong? Okay, let's see. Okay, almost two-thirds of women's working hours each week are unpaid and ignored. Who was supposed to pay them? Why don't you take this up with an employer instead of writing articles? By official statistics measuring economic activity, leaving them shortchanged and pushed deeper into poverty, according to Oxfam. The charity said not taking account of unpaid care for a child or sick adults or domestic work such as cooking and cleaning, most of which is carried out by women, means these activities are invisible in the formal economy and not valued properly. Who the fuck is paying women to cook for themselves and their children? Is it their husbands? Is it the guys that are fucking them? Because I'm not doing it. You're not doing it. So why is it unpaid? I did some chores. I just washed my dishes. No one paid me. I'm unpaid. All right. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe this is not as ridiculous as I think it is. It has been, it has added its voice to calls to move beyond GPD, gross domestic product, the main measure of a country's economic growth based on the value of goods and services produced during a given period. If the measure is based on the economy, why wouldn't they measure actual things that actually has value? You're like, oh, but women's labor actually has value. No, it doesn't. You know why it doesn't? Because no one is actually checking their work. No one is paying them for their work. And they also can't put that on a goddamn resume because it's not skilled labor. They don't get better at doing their own chores. They don't get better at taking care of their own kids. It's maintenance. Literally, it's maintenance. You ever seen a show? You've seen Survivor. You've seen all these shows, all these competition shows. You ever seen a competition of who's the best at taking care of a kid? You know why you haven't? Because it's not a skill. It's not. There's no way to measure it in any way. Oxfam said GPD is anti-feminist. Oh my God. How is it anti-feminist if it also accounts for the women's portion and the men's equally? They literally give zero shit about gender. It's all about money. And colonial, because it sustains a framework of value creation and productivity that only counts what can be monetized. Gross domestic product. What else is it supposed to goddamn count? It added market relations are given precedence over family and social relations, individualism or solidarity and interdependence, rational choice over well-being. So you're basically saying it's not good because it hurts the women's feelings. Hmm? because it does what it's supposed to do. And also, nobody give a shit unless they're investing or they actually work in that field. No one gives a shit about GPD. Nobody. But now it's not inclusive enough for you. Women are rendered to the private sphere, and this work is invisible. You know who else is invisible? Servers, people waiting tables, people that get paid off the books. They're also invisible. But you don't care about them. They don't have the right genitalia for you. At the same time, GPD has helped erase indigenous and alternative concepts of what can and should be valued. GPD is a very specific value system. You sick fuck. If you want a system that values something different, create it. Not every system has to value every fucking thing. That makes no goddamn sense. For instance, GPD doesn't measure sports records. It was like, well, it erases the value of all those great athletes. The fuck is your problem? It said GPD has become the yardstick against which all economic progress is measured. According to who? And that its limited focus reflects the narrow-minded, Eurocentric, and outdated framing that shaped its creation. This is the stupidest thing I've ever read. The charity added, it is high time for a reboot that reflects the reality and the needs of society. What does society need? To massage women's egos? That'll boost the economy. What should be valued is we should all measure how much work women actually do. We should start measuring it and put a number to it so we can actually see what exactly do they do all the time. All this invisible work. Let's put a measure to it. Let's put a number to it. Let's see how many hours they actually spent actually working, and let's see how valuable their work is. I guarantee you, shit's gonna turn out to be very embarrassing for you. But maybe I'm overreacting. The charity said its analysts using International Labor Organization data suggested that of the total number of hours worked weekly around the world by men and women, 45% are unpaid care work, and these contributions are excluded from GPD calculations. What is wrong with these people? One of the biggest advantages women have always had in society is that they don't have to really contribute much because they have children. That's it. They can have fun, gallivant around, being happy. And people are perfectly satisfied with that. No one calls them a lazy bum. That's reserved for men because people expect men to work. You want to take away that privilege that women have to be carefree and then force scrutiny on them for the work that they actually do, and you call that pro-women. You asshole. It said 65% of women's weekly working hours globally are unpaid and do not contribute towards GPD. Because it's not valuable, because anybody could do it. And if you're counting women that are taking care of their own children. That is called personal responsibility. No one's paying you for that. The Office for National Statistics, ONS, which collects and analyzes and publishes statistics about the UK's economy. Of course, this is from the UK. Society and population has already said it is working on radical plans to go beyond GPD. The fuck? Including new and innovative metrics reflecting the impact of economic change on people and the environment. That's not beyond GPD. That's just a completely different thing. That's a social movement. This has nothing to do with the economy. A report last year by the Center for Progressive Policy. There's a Center for Progressive Policy think tank found women in the UK are providing more than twice as much unpaid childcare per year as men. What are you talking about? These women are taking care of their own children. And if they're taking care of someone else's child, that's usually a job and they get paid for that. If they're taking care of their own children, though, they're usually either getting child support, government aid, or their husbands pay for everything. That doesn't sound unpaid to me, but I guess to you, they should get more money for doing nothing extra. As well as spending more time caring for adults than men. Yes, there are more female nurses than male nurses. Congratulations. There's also more male firemen, more men working in dangerous jobs. There's more men working in trash collecting, more male electricians, plumbers. What's your point? Men and women want to do different jobs. That's not discrimination. Women are being shortchanged the world over. No one pays you more just because you complain about how hard your job is. The thing is, when you put attention on something, you usually don't get the result that you want, because that is very short-sighted. There's a reason why these labors are unpaid. And if you force people to pay attention to them, you're going to find out why it's unpaid. And you're going to do a disservice to the people that you're claiming that you're trying to help. Because you're going to find that a lot of those hours that you're counting that these women have unpaid, they're usually just sitting around, maybe watching TV, talking on the phone, occasionally yelling at the kids to stop it. Not much labor involved. And a lot of the inefficiencies involved in their work is usually because they're just not good at it. I'm not saying women in general aren't good at it. I'm just saying it's not exactly a job you train for. Motherhood. Just kind of have a kid and then you wing it. That's why it's unpaid. Because there's no qualifications. You don't have to get good. You don't have to get better at it. You just got to do the best you can. As long as you do that, people praise you for it. Very low bar. Motherhood. Very low bar. It's valuable. Certainly is. But it's only valuable because nobody else wants to do it. Men don't want to do it. We don't. Not because we're not good at it, because if you look at the statistics, men actually make better single fathers and single mothers make single mothers. It just, because it just involves getting something done. And we can do that without our emotions getting in the way. And I don't know if you ever grew up with a mother, because I did. I've seen a lot of mothers in my life, and a lot of their problems tend to be their own emotions. They tend to just, get stressed out and panic and, make things more difficult than it needs to be. It's not an indictment on women. It's just like, it's just how they're built. They're just their own worst enemies sometimes. I don't think bringing scrutiny to motherhood and their personal lives is going to do them any kind of service. I'm just saying. Anam Parvez, OFAM, head of the research. Women are being shortchanged the world over, pushed deeper into time and income poverty. Yet most people that are homeless are men. But women are being pushed into income poverty. You know what's pushing women into income poverty? Telling them that they should put their jobs first, put their careers first. And then they get into these jobs and they realize that they're miserable. They're fucking miserable. They hate it. They don't want to go to work. They don't want to do this anymore. And their lives are just going to be a constant droll scene of just showing up to work, seeing the same people doing the same shit every single day, and they fucking hate their lives. And you cunts instead of actually helping them, instead of actually giving a shit, you constantly try to inflate their ego in order to get your own agendas across. But in the end of the day, you're not helping them. You're not making their lives better. You're not doing anything except saying it's the men's fault and their lives are still shit. And now they're pissed off about their lives. And now they have a target to express that anger, and it's towards the men now, while they're ignoring the people that are truly screwing them over. These activists, these feminists, these motherfuckers that have never given a shit about women, because either they are women or they have learned through interacting with women and selling them a dream, they have learned to not respect women because they have a low opinion of women's intelligence if they can easily manipulate them by just telling them bullshit that they want to hear. You don't tend to respect people you can manipulate like that. The government's fixation in GPD, okay, whatever. This goes on. They added, that's why we publish new estimates, blah, blah. All right. Until next time.